Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to start saying thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Over the weekend, there's been a story that has been trending for in the spaces here for quite some time. And this is a report that the Washington team denied William Ruto and Museveni classified intel on the security of the region, and it is actually believed that that is the loophole that has been used by the enemies to create havoc in the region. This report, and today I saw, I think, Kenyans.co, they interviewed former police officer who is a security expert, George Musamali, and he weighed on this matter, on what exactly this will portray, or whether this is something that can be of concern. Now, what I'm simply asking here is just trying to think as a layman. We have resources we are putting for some of these operations. Why should we still, in this 20th century, still be depending on intel from the foreign powers? Now, this is something that is there. Even though we are actually having the military briefs on, let me say, a global agreement, or rather a world or intergovernment agreement on sharing of intelligence from both ends. But I still believe we need to scale up resourcing up our intel so that over-dependence on the European nations is not something that we should actually smile about. This is because security intel is highly perishable, and so Kenya should be active in sourcing its own. When you speak to people around on this matter, they're a bit cagey, and you'll be told that these are it's a very perishable. Intel is very perishable, and we should not look at maybe based in the intel. Now, questions are as to why would America decline, or rather deny, Kenya and Uganda the intel? And one of the occurrences that is actually bringing this question to the fold is the resurgence of attacks. I think Uganda in the region has suffered most. They lost 137 soldiers in attacking Somalia. And then there are also 25 students, I think, in Uganda. And even Kenya has also suffered a bit, some scores in the areas of Lamu. Now, there is something in the corridors. Now, America scaled down their military support to the East African nations, and because they reviewed their policy. And will that be the reason behind it? Now, this security expert, George Musamali, disagreed with the fact that this will be something to be taken lightly, or rather disagreed with the fact that the country still depends, will still depend on an intel from America. He really highly disagreed with that is not something that we should not be at that moment. Now, he says it's a big mistake relying excessively on the United States, encompassing aspects such as military training, surveillance, and coordination in peacekeeping operations, despite of intelligence sharing agreements in the world. Now, someone need to understand something here, that some of them, America supports AMISOM. So this operation, especially the one for Somalia, AMISOM is supported by America. And also, I think also in DRC, they are also supporting some operation there. So the intel is not only for the country as Kenya, but the intel affects all, or even operations, peacekeeping operations where AMISOM are actually leading. And Msamali further noted that it should be taken by high concern, by the great concern of this development. And the question here is, did Washington team decline to serve us, giving William Ruto the intel? I was just reading that story. It is saying, when do we expect the US to give us intel, yet we have operatives on the ground? The US has resourced us by training our intelligence officers, and it's not their responsibility to be collecting actionable intel on behalf of Kenya and Uganda. Musomali, a former police officer, added that there was a need to draft homegrown solutions to tackling our problems. That's, of course, I do agree. We must get our own solutions here. And I don't know whether they normally give actionable, because the list I've always seen to the public is asking citizens not to go to some places. And that has also been questionable as how effectively it is. Now, which are some of the breakaway points? When William Ruto came into power, he rode into power with a very clear support from the America. Within the first month of swearing in, he was in America and UK, and was really given their high esteem. And the understanding was very well that he was highly receiving the backing. But what is making the ends to be loose? That's why I want to tell you. And looking at the latest developments, there's some few aspects that have been going on. The number one here is the breakaway between America and President Ruto could be the Haji factor. Now, this factor has emerged because, and it's a bit of, there are those who are, there are those who have been given positions and they had questionable credentials. And sometimes they're not in conformity to the principles that maybe they've been called advancing. So it will be a protest against that, and that can be seen. But remember the South African outburst. I think I analyzed it here, where President Ruto ridiculed and trolled America and UK. He was right to say that there is no way you can call 54 heads of state to meet one person, then you bangle them in a bus and drive them to a place, then you give them, each one of them 2 or 1 minute to say something, and you say you are going to help Africa, while there is a track here where people can have structural dialogue or other discussions and bilateral deals. So 54 heads of state are bungled in America. They are told, they end up coming back with photos. That South African statement, it was a direct swipe at America, and I think it was clearly the America, because the UK one, yes, it was during the burial of Queen Elizabeth, but that was globally, all the leaders and even presidents and other people who wanted, because of logistics, they were to go by bus. But America, that happened. Now, America is what America has this African Africa Leader Summit. So these summits bring together heads of states from Africa, and Ruto was very right within by saying very well that if you really want to help, then we must have a structured way of dealing with Africa, the leaders. You can't just bank on us. Now, that was a direct swipe, and that could have triggered it. Probably. It's a high possibility. Now, the other thing that I'm seeing in the blog is the controversial gay rights. You see, immediately Kenya tried, not even Kenya tried, immediately the Supreme Court allowed for registration of organizations within the gay rights space. There was a public outcry in the country, saying, we don't want it. That is not what we want. And if William Ruto would exchange our morals for support from America, then let it be it. So after that, they have been pushed, and government promised the people of the country, government promised us that they were going to review that decision. And if that decision is reviewed, probably there would be a change of position in it. So that, that was like 2 months ago. Then later, we saw now Uganda taking a stand. In fact, a lead in totally banning the gay rights. And that is why you can see this report is not something that you can still undermine, because true to that, Uganda has really suffered in terms of security lapses. They've suffered greatest hit in terms of security lapses. So the gay rights controversy is something that is also here. So this is an agenda, and there is an American agenda on this gay rights issue, and that is Kenya, Uganda pronouncing themselves. You're waiting for what the other countries are going to take the position of the countries, but that cannot be wished away. Lastly, I see the politics of BRICS. BRICS is an economic bloc that is bringing together Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Saudi Arabia has also joined, and other African countries are also being pursued to join, including Kenya. The BRICS, one of the, which I believe, one of their big obligation is to create an alternative currency so that they can do away with the dollar. And on that, Kenya is also on radar. It's not clear whether they are going to make a conscious decision to join, but Kenya is also on the radar to make sure they are part of that deliberation. So we're waiting to see how it goes as to whether there's intel. And my position, I don't think it is of that way. But I do still know that the international intel is equally important, and it is probably more important than even what we've had here. Because in this country, we've always had a flawed system where people will always tell the leader what he wants to hear. They tend not to be very truthful, and will always tell that leader what that person wants to hear. Thank you, guys. I am still reaching out to you for our 26th Children's Home visit in Nemaland. For the latest support, we are targeting dry food and clothing. So I've pinned the numbers here. This is the numbers of my team under the Bold Charity Network. So we have Kawira, we have Brenda, yes, and my number is also there. So that if you're within town, you can get in contact with Kawira. If you want to donate some food stuff, maybe unga, ziwa or something. Those kids, it's a school in imebeba watoto wadogo sana. You can also reach out to those who are around Ngong Road. You can also reach out to me, and we shall organize on pickup. Now, those who can also do monetary donations, you can also donate and say what exactly that money should be for. Then we shall organize and purchase that to take those children. That is on 26th, and I'm still reaching out to you. So thank you very much. I will also be so glad that those who are in Nairobi and are willing and part of this bold family, you can tag along, and we go and spend time with those children, have the service together, and have good time with the children in Nemaland. And if those are willing, yes, you can reach out to me, and we shall shall add you into the list, and we plan for that. Thank you.
Watotongu eh? Yeah. Watotongu eh? Yeah. Watotongu hapa ni wapi?
Nemaland King Center.
Wapi?
Nemaland King Center.
Yes, so guys, hapa ni Nemaland Kings and Queens Center. I told you that this month I wanted us to do something different. Na ndio maana nimekuja hapa. Next week on Sunday, we'll be making a visit to these beautiful children here. Na niko na Kawira hapa, atakuwa naongea by the way. Kawira is, yeye ndiye atakuwa anafanya hii shughuli. So I want to say that this place is a children's home ina host hawa watoi, ni watoto wadogo, and we are reaching out to you in a special way that let's do something different, celebrating 1.5 years of political analysis and also supporting the community. We decided we want to do something different. Na umeniambia huku kuna watu ambao ni wanahabari, lakini kabla hiyo, so guys, tunataka kusikia news anchors, and I need to say this, that in the Bold we've always felt like we need to support others, and some of these things you cannot do alone. That is why when Kawira got to me and I said, why not? So she's going to be part of the Bold Charity Network as our coordinator and our admin. Yende tokwa na run this project, especially on this one's on supporting the children's home, because we want to grow with others. And you know that we've always supported others and grown with others. So mtamuona sana, hii sura itabidi uzoee hii sura sana.
Na hiyo sauti.
Yes, because she's going to be in charge of this project, especially on this one supporting children's home.